Hello, I'd like to welcome you to the Nigerian Association for Energy Economics conference for 2022. My name is Peter Hartley, and I'm the IAEE president for 2022. I'm a professor of economics at Rice University in Houston, Texas, where I study energy economics. And I'm also a scholar with the Center for Energy Studies at the Baker Institute for Public Policy at Rice University. As you can tell, I'm also originally from Australia. And in fact, right now, when you having your conference, I'll be visiting family back in Australia. That's one reason I'm addressing you by video rather than in person. And I would also like to take this opportunity to say hello to my good friend Wumi Ilade from Nigeria, who preceded me as president of the IAEE last time I was president. And Wumi also, like me, had an academic position in the United States, in his case, LSU. And he invited me over to give some talks there when he was a professor there. And I know that he, over many, many years, has been a project of his to sponsor the Nigerian Association for Energy Economics. And for that, the IAEE is extremely grateful. They're very pleased. It's been a very successful chapter. The more general context here is that the IAEE is very, very interested in having more chapters in developing Africa. And in fact, we've had some new ones starting up. We think this is very, very important for the future of the International Association for Energy Economics, because Africa is very important to the development of world energy markets over the next few decades. As countries in Africa develop economically, get onto the economic development path, accelerated their development, which we all hope is going to happen. We get the mechanization of agriculture, including not just machinery, but also extensive use of irrigation, of course, chemical fertilizers and so on. And all of that, of course, greatly increases the demand for energy, particularly fossil fuels of various sorts, to run the machinery and produce the chemical fertilizers, and then also to run electricity to run irrigation pumps and so on. And of course, after the mechanization of agriculture, countries industrialize, which also greatly increases the demand for energy in the economy, and urbanize as people move from rural areas to the city, which again increases energy demand. And then, of course, you get a lot of infrastructure development. So it's inevitable, really, that big increases in energy demand in coming decades are going to come from high population developing countries, especially those in Africa. And of course, as economies develop, they also get a greater proportion of their energy in the form of electricity. And that's very important, not only for things like irrigation, as I mentioned, industrialization and so on, but also improving aspects of human welfare like health and education. And of course, extending the electricity grid to more people is very important for reducing energy poverty and reducing pollution from traditional fuels, and allowing people to develop and improve their standard of living. On the other aspect of this, of course, is that Africa also is very important on the supply side of the energy market, and I don't need to emphasize that, of course, for you in Nigeria, a very important supplier of oil and natural gas to the world economy. But increasingly, we have oil and gas developments, East Africa and so on. Of course, North Africa is also important in the world energy market. Africa also has quite a lot of undeveloped hydroelectricity resources, which can be very important in the electricity system for providing backup. It's a main form, essentially, if you have hydroelectricity based on stored water, as a major form of effectively storing energy. And of course, if we think about modern renewables, the African continent, of course, has a lot of potential for development of solar resources in the desert areas. And wind is already important in South Africa, Kenya, of course, but also elsewhere. But to develop wind and solar and even run a river hydro, we need good backup capacity, and hydroelectricity, of course, as I mentioned, very important for that, but also natural gas. So I think a prelude to developing these kind of renewable resources is that African countries also invest in improving the natural gas supply, which of course requires the development of pipelines and other infrastructure. So typically occurs further down the development path. All of these things, of course, raise very important energy policy issues with respect to the development of electricity markets, domestic use of natural gas, development of hydro resources, and so forth. And, I think this something the IAEE is very, very keen to foster is debate and analysis on all of these important energy issues. And I'm sure there's going to be lots of interesting papers on all of these issues here at this conference. Given the importance of Africa, the IAEE is keen to develop more affiliates on the continent. And I'm pleased that we have additional affiliates in South and East Africa, West, and we've been speaking to about other countries in West Africa. And we would like to see the expansion of the association to more of these countries. I, of course, appreciate that a significant problem in this regard is that it's very difficult to extend a lot of our, or develop affiliates in developing countries where we have lots of exchange rate fluctuations, which can mean that our fees, which are paid in US dollars, can become very, very significant in local currency. And we've had significant chapters of the IAEE in the past in the developing world. An example would be Indonesia, that have had to reduce or eliminate their affiliation with the IAEE because of financial currency crises and so on. The council, IAEE Council, is aware of this issue, and we've discussed it and trying to do something about it, but it's going to have to wait, I think, until we get a new management company. So that's the other thing that's going on with the IAEE right now, is that the AMS, Dave Williams's company, which has been our association management company now for many years, is going to end their role at the end of this year. Dave is actually retiring from the workforce at the end of this year. And so the thing that's in train now, that's occupying a lot of time of the IAEE Council, is searching for a new management company. But one thing that we've raised with new management companies we sort of asked them about their experience with international associations like ours that include affiliates in developing countries. And so we're hopeful that we might be able to get some new ideas from other associations about how to cope with this issue. So hopefully there'll be more news forthcoming on that once the IAEE is settled down with their new management company, and we take a new look at our strategy and policies and so on after that. I'd like to next mention to you other IAEE conferences you may be interested in. We're starting to get back to face-to-face conferences again, very fortunately for us. Very important to IAEE revenue to finance our operations, that we have these face-to-face conferences. We've had put on a lot of online material and so on to keep people in touch with each other during the coronavirus pandemic. But it's been very hard for the association to monetize those services. And so we're very keen to get back to face-to-face conferences And of course, the other important point is that the face-to-face conferences are a really important part of our service to members. Helps build and maintain networks, and helps further our goal of promoting discussion of energy policy, important energy policy issues, energy market developments. In any case, our international conference for 2022 is going to be a hybrid conference, where we have both in-person and online participation, and it's going to be held in Tokyo at the beginning of August. It's followed by the European conference, which is going to be held in Athens from September 22 to 24. And then the USAE North American conference is going to be held in Houston from October 24 to 26. The Latin American Association, Latin American affiliates also are going to hold their Latin American conference in Bogota, Colombia, from November 20 to 22. And then early 23, our international conference is going to be held in the Northern Hemisphere winter in 2023, instead of traditionally in the summer, as it is traditionally held in the summer, because it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. And so, probably didn't want to have a conference in Saudi Arabia in traditional summer months. So it's going to be held next year from February 5 to 8. I urge you to, those of you who are interested, to look at the details, which are available on our website, IAEE.org. And you can find more details there on submission dates for papers, contests, competitions, and so forth. And I urge you to go and have a look at that if you're interested. And we hope to see more of you at our IAEE conferences as we put the pandemic behind us. Finally, I would like to end by putting my hat back on as Rice Professor of Economics instead of a President of the IAEE. Maybe abusing my privilege here to speak to you, but just point out for the students in the audience that we have at Rice University a Master's for Energy Economics. And those of you who may be interested in furthering your study in energy economics, you can go and look at our website at Rice Department of Economics, and you can apply for that. We have students who come to that program who are financed by their employers, but also Fulbright scholarships, for example. So you can find other ways of financing your studies. Anyway, I probably should end at this point. Again, I thank you very much for giving me the privilege of spending a few moments to address you and speak about IAEE matters. And again, welcome to the NAEE conference for 2022. And I wish you all a very successful conference, and hope to see you at some of our other IAEE events in the coming years. Thank you very much.